Hey, how y'all doing today? Just want to share some feelings, share maybe a few facts, maybe spark a little interest in somebody so they'll go out and actually do a little bit of research and actually understand. See, history is important. It's a very important part of everything that we are. We need history in order to understand what not to do next. What will work, what won't work. Government has never been a perfect thing. It's always been an evolving thing since the beginning of time. That's truth. But today, we deal with a whole lot of racial issues. A lot of young people walking around saying things, and I guess it could be understandable in a lot of ways. But let's quote a few. Let's bring up a few facts. We ain't gonna do no statistics. Let's just bring up a few facts. You want statistics? Go look them up yourself. I don't do all that. I don't believe in all that. I believe that if a person sees it for themselves, that it makes better sense to them than me sitting here trying to preach something to you and trying to get you to understand something. I'm just going to try and point you in a direction so that maybe you'll go look it up and see. See, slavery happened in this country. That's a fact. It was wrong. It was nasty, pathetic, miserable, crappy. Should have never friggin' happened. But it's history. Can't change that. But in the process of talking about slavery, we need to accept a few facts. We need to accept a few points that might make a difference in people understanding a few things. The first thing is not every white person in America owned a slave. Let me state that. Not every white person in America owned a slave. And everybody who didn't have a little house out back was slaves out back. There was a whole lot of white people in this country who didn't believe in it, thought it was morally and ethically and wrong. And even if they did, a lot of people couldn't afford a slave. It just wasn't something they could do. They would have enough trouble feeding their families. Now, I can't contest to what everybody thought or what everybody felt back in those days. But I know that not every single white person in this country owned a slave. So to call every white person in this country a slave owner or an ancestor from a slave owner is wrong. Facts prove that. Facts prove that. Facts prove that. Go look it up. Go find it out. Facts prove that. Not every slave owner was white. I can't remember, Mississippi, Louisiana, one of those states down there had more black slave owners than white slave owners. That's a fact. But that doesn't fit the narrative in order to be where we're at right now. Does not justify anything. Does not make anything wrong. It is a fact. And a fact does not mean one way or another. It is not justifying anything. It's just a fact. Little tidbits of history. Today we've got thousands of white kids raising up and fighting against slavery or racism in this country. Not slavery, pardon me. Fighting against racism in this country. Y'all act like that's the first time it ever happened. Is it? No. If I remember correctly, we fought a war in 1863, I believe, called Civil War, where millions of whites took arms against their brothers and fought a war to end slavery. So is that the first time whites have stood up in the streets and said, no? No, it's not. That's a fact. That is a guaranteed fact. The Republican Party was started because of slavery. They didn't believe in it. That's a fact. The Democratic Party, well, they did. And they were the biggest part of the South. But look at what the Democratic Party in the North was saying. They were still fighting for slavery. Democratic Party in the North during the Civil War was still fighting against government. They stayed with their states, but they were still fighting against government to keep slavery. They fought Lincoln all the way to the end. No, we don't want the Emancipation Proclamation, but he leveraged and he pulled and he fought and he pulled teeth and he did everything he could to free the slaves. That's fact. That's fact. Then after the Civil War was done, over, fought, slaves were freed, the Democratic Party decided they were going to go out and create every micro law in every little possible way that they could to keep the black man down. They can't let them be a part of our race. Slowly, every time we passed more and more bills, slowly every time we fought it. But that's what they were doing. Fact. Go look it up. Go look at the laws that were passed during those times. Go look at the little micro laws that were passed in each little state, in each little area, so that they could keep control, they could keep the black man down. Then look at the fact that it was the Democratic Party that did that. Interesting concept, huh? Democratic Party is supposedly in the 1950s, 1960s, somewhere in that area, switched over and was for the black man. We're all about the black man. We're all about helping the black community and helping the black community to rise up and to be better. I'm going to call bull when I see bull. Because in my research, I found that there was a lot of KKK members that was in the Democratic Party all the way up into the 90s. KKK members were in the Democratic Party up until the 90s. These were senators. These were congressmen. These were all of these guys that that have been talked about in the past. Go look it up. Go find it out. It's real easy to find. We give out an award every year to a lady by the name of Margaret Thatcher. The Margaret Thatcher Award. Hillary Clinton got it. Oh, this is one of my idols. Oh my God. I'm so proud that I get to be, the Margaret Thatcher Award. Yeah, okay. Have you done the research into who Margaret Thatcher is? This is the lady behind Planned Parenthood. This is the lady behind abortion clinics. And guess what? She's the one that wanted them put in black communities. She's the one who wanted them put in communities where people were struggling, people who were not genetically perfect. She was a geneticist. She believed in being genetically perfect. The other person that I know that fits in that qualification is Hitler. The Aryan race, the supreme race. Yeah. These are their idols. These are the people they give awards to. They got you out in the streets tearing down statues right now. But yet you're not paying attention to these simple little facts of the matter. These simple little clues that lead you into some insight into what they really are and who they really are. Do you think it's by coincidence that they started handing out welfare and food stamps? Do you think it's by coincidence that they took the jobs away from these communities? No, it's by design. Look at the drug laws that were passed. Look at how bad these laws affected the black communities. Look at the design behind these laws. Locking people up for 40 years. Thank you, Bill Clinton. He goes back further than him. Look at some of the laws that Roosevelt put into action. Look at some of the things that he did when he formulated some of the things he created. Go look at how they were designed and how they did not help the black community. It's by design. It's by design because even Roosevelt, in his own words, said the best way to win an election is by keeping the people separated. Go look it up. Separate them by sex, separate them by color, separate them by religion. Keep them at arms with each other. And by doing this, we'll always win the election because we can use it as a way to help to get people to vote for us. George Floyd passed away. George Floyd was killed. It was a terrible thing. And it sparked something that had been lying underneath the bottom for a long time and just waiting to come out. But is it the first time? Is he the first black man to be killed? Is he the first black man to be beaten? No, he's not. This has happened numerous times. Why wasn't laws passed then to make things better? See, they played us. They played us for a long time. They give us little nidbits and tidbits and say that it's going to make our life better, but it never does. It never really changes anything because they don't need it to change. Because if it changes, then that means they actually have to face the issues that are at hand. See, they take. Then you can't have medical then because you don't have a job. So you can't buy insurance. So now they have a reason to give you medical insurance. Another way for them to get more money out of their pocket that they get to manipulate. Look at how many times they tapped into Social Security. Thank you, Roosevelt. Have you done the math on Medicare, on Obamacare? How much money the government goes? And Obamacare, by all rights, I get the principle behind it. But did it regulate the doctors? Did it regulate the hospitals? Did it regulate the pharmacies? Did it put any stipulations on those people with money? Or did it just force American citizens to buy an insurance that has a multitude of limits? It has an extremely high copay. You're limited on how many procedures, how many tests they can perform. And in the process, they forced everybody else out there to go out there, and then the insurance prices jacked up. See, that could lead into colleges and how they started giving everybody free college and how the colleges started to jack the prices up. But we ain't going to go into that. But it follows the same suit. It's all a con. It's all a con by design to stay in office. Some of these politicians have been in there a lifetime. There's a few who have been in there longer than I've been alive. But yet they have not changed things. They've not made things better. I mean, honestly, take a look at your environment. Take a look at what's going on around you. This is black. This is white. This is Latino. This is anybody who lives in a poverty-stricken area. Pay attention to what's going on. The jobs are gone. There's no medical insurance. There's no chance to go to school. The schools aren't funded properly. The schools have changed what they're teaching. They started teaching kids in a way that most parents can't even fathom how to help them. This new math stuff. But it was just instantaneous. All of a sudden these kids are doing math that, believe it or not, dates back to Mayan. It's a Mayan way of doing life. It's something that was abolished friggin' hundreds of years ago because we found a new way to do it. Oh, it's too hard to remember. 2 times 2 is 4. 6 times 6 is 36. Too hard to remember that. It's called an enlightened mind. Now, I get it. There's some kids out there who have a hard time with it. But those who don't shouldn't have to be forced to go through that process. That's another subject. Anyway, like I said, this is it could stem on and on and on and on. But wake up. Pay attention. You tell me that the black man is oppressed in this country, that they can't grow up to do nothing, they can't become nothing, they can't do anything beyond what they are. I'm going to say hockey poo. I'm going to say bull crap. I'm going to say that the names date back to way back. George Washington Carver. This man created things from the peanut that people have no idea about. They realize how much important his research was and how much it influences their everyday life. And no, he didn't create peanut butter. Go do your research. Move on up the line. Martin Luther King. This guy had some of the greatest sayings, some of the greatest insights into humanity that could ever be imagined. Muhammad Ali. Do you know there's not a person in this country right now that does not know who Muhammad Ali is? Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was a god. He created the distortion of the guitar. He created a genre of music that grew into everything that we know now. But you can't rise up and become nothing. Do you think those names stop there? No, they don't. By no means do they stop there. Obama, the first black president of the United States, a black man. I'm going to let you know now, I was proud the day that he was elected, but he let everybody down. He let everybody down. That's a shame. Real change could have happened, but it didn't. Oprah. Yeah, this is a billionaire. This is a lady who has done multitudes for the black community. See what I'm saying, folks? Now we mentioned some famous people, of course. We can't leave out some of the greats when you talk about famous people. Like my favorite, one of my favorites, Michael Jordan. Love that man. Totally bad to the bone. Choosing non-cuss words. Some of the people that I really admire, Richard Pryor, Terry Crews. You know, they've touched in a lot of aspects of everybody's life. Even Snoop Dogg, a rapper, Ice-T, LL Cool J. You know, these people are in movies. These people are in TV. These people are a part of everyday life. A black man can't raise up to become nothing, but yet they're professors, they're scientists, they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're congressmen, they're the president of the United States. They are in every aspect of life. From the top of the list to the bottom of the list. Just like a white person, just like a Latino, just like anybody out there. See, that's the most important part about racism. That's why racism should not exist, because it's not the color of a person's skin that makes them, but what's inside that makes them. How much drive and dedication they have. You can't say American without talking about black people. Not today. And I don't mean by in a bad light. It's in a good light. Anyway, these conversations could rattle on and on and on. I would love to create a community where people wanted to sit and talk and to come together and find a way to get beyond this, to make life better. But, you know, I'm going to suggest that if anything I've said has sparked an interest in you, go out and do the research. I ain't going to sit down on a computer and meme, and throw out all kinds of memes. And I'm not going to throw a whole bunch of stuff up and say, now freeze it and read this, or freeze it and read that, or look at my research. I'm going to suggest that you go out and do that research for yourself. See, I was in the Army, and I had a first sergeant. And that first sergeant, he told me, I mean, he could have told me where I needed to go to find something, but he never did. He said, do the research. Go find it out. Go look it up and learn. And I did. And every time I did, I came back so much smarter. This is one of my mentors. This is one of the people, believe it or not, same age as I am, but I look up to this man with more respect than just about anybody that walks the face of this earth. He falls right up there with my father. A lot of respect for this man. A lot of respect for what this man taught me as a human being. For the record, he's a black man. I'm not going to call him out, but I'm going to let you know now that it wasn't the color of his skin that made me respect him. It was who he was. It was the way he lived his life, the way he performed, the way he treated every individual that walked in front of him with either the respect they deserved or the punishment that was required. And even in punishment, he still respected them people. So, please, go out, broaden your horizons, broaden your mind, look into what is actually going on. Try to come to some understanding of what's actually happening. We're being conned. You need to learn what that con is. Much love, much peace. Please share, comment, do what you need to do. I like to open and talk about things. All right. Bye, guys.